Hello everyone, I'm Damini, your host for today, and today we have with us Mr. Swanendu Chatterjee, who's the Managing Associate at Saraf and Partner Law Offices and Advocate on Record at Supreme Court. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting my invitation on a very short notice and just coming to my channel for this interview.
Thank you, Damini, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be chatting with you on this Saturday
Thank you
morning.
so much, sir. So, without taking your much time, I would like to ask you if you could just share your law school journey with us.
The law school journey, if we speak about my law school journey, like I went to a law school which was just at its inception phase, like School of Law, KIT University, Bhubaneswar. It started its journey in 2007, and I went there in 2008. So it was at its inception phase, and basically when we went there, we were having our classes from classes in engineering buildings, sometimes in the management buildings, because we hardly had a campus of our own. But slowly, in around 2010, we had our own campus at campus, which we called the Campus 16, the law campus. We had our own campus, own hostel, and own library and everything. And it is a plush campus right now. For example, if I go there now, I won't be able to recognize that place, because the way I left, the way which I saw it in 2013, much different from now. From It's much different now, as I hear from my juniors or from my interns who come from there. Technically they are my juniors only, but yeah, from the interns who come from there, like they say that it's much different now. It's good to be like to see a law school growing. It's definitely growing, and it's definitely grown to a large extent. So my college life, it was a lot of, since we were one of the first batches, to that additional burden was always there to create a name for us as well as the law school, and not to do anything which would tarnish or which would go against the image of the law school, or which would triple it at its inception. So it was not. So we always had that thing in our mind. But it was also a thing. It was also one of those things which you have, that we were not national law schools, and by that time that those things had started, that if you are not from a national law school, you hardly get internships, you hardly get this, you hardly get that. So that was a major problem back then also. It was starting, but now the problem has boomerang to that effect, that Chief Justice of India had to make it a point. So back then people had started, but it was but we had to work a bit hard to go an extra mile. So that was all. And Bhubaneswar being a peaceful city, we, from the point of view of career and growth and studies, it was a perfect match. But for example, a student's life, it was not a Pune or a like Bombay, or let's say Bhopal, like that. Like it was a growing city. Now it's a smart city, but then back then it was not Chandigarh. It was Bhubaneswar only. But now Bhubaneswar has grown to a large extent. Now it has Inox. Now it has more than two CCDs. When we were there were only two CCDs. When one was like 10 kilometers from the campus, another one was 20 kilometers from the campus. So we hardly had good eateries in and around the campus. And back then, our parents obviously did not allow so much of influx of cash into our hands. So it was 12, 13 years ago. So slowly things have changed. Now you guys have a lot of access to money and all. But back then it was not so much. Dominic. So it was a mix and match for us, some plus, some minus. But we had a good time in the university, and with our teachers, and the training. Like, we were growing as a family. So that family bonding is still there with the teachers. Like Faizan Mustafa, Professor Faizan Mustafa was our first director. Faizan sir is like a father figure to all of us from the inception batches. We still reach out to him, even though he left us in 2009. That's 12 years ago. But still, we reach out to him, and he knows each one of us by name. So that is one major point. So law school journey was more with a little bit of ups and downs. It was a fairly memorable one. And although we can blame our colleges thousand times that they don't do this, they don't do that. Actually speaking, it is the students who build the colleges, not the colleges who build the.
So, sir, that was something that you actually told everyone that how you managed to get into a law school, which was not that famous that time because it was in the initial years. But, sir, like you
Yeah.
joined that college, you took that challenge because the college was very new. But, sir, like what sort of activities you did in your law school? Like right now, you have a lot of moot court competitions, you have ADR, you have debating cells, legal aid cells. So, what sort of things like you did when you were in law school?
I did mooting, I did debates, and debates I did not. I participated. See, first of all, if I don't believe in flocking your CV with 10 moot court competitions and 10 department 10 participation certificates. It doesn't matter if you have 10 participation certificates. It's not an excursion trip or a like it's not a vacation trip that you go on trips and come back. You have to go there for the purpose. So I participated in only one moot, that is the Commonwealth Moot Court competition, and by God's grace, we had won the best memorial prize for the India rounds. And thereafter, we went for a parliamentary debate competition in NUJS, which is called the Tarka Samuha or something like the NUJS PD parliamentary debate. Only that, and in college we used to more than all these things. I used to concentrate more on publications and writing research papers, because that is how you grow from inside as a lawyer. Because ultimately, end of the day, you are a law student. You are not a corporate officer, or you are not a engineer or a chartered accountant. Even a chartered accountant has to grow professionally. Every professional has to grow. So the more you write, the more you think, the more you plunge, the more you grow. If you don't exercise your gray scales, that won't grow. The only thing that grows by spending is your gray cells.
So
So
that
that
was
is how.
about, yeah, the activities, right, which you did in your law
Yeah,
school. But
yeah,
nowadays, like you're also active on LinkedIn, you see like a lot of people are actually struggling to get internships because
yeah,
internships are an integral part of the law schools nowadays.
of
So,
course.
like, how many internships you did when you were in law school, and how did you manage to get
I
those?
I think 10 or 11. I think
Yeah,
not
because
more
we
than
had
that.
5 years. You had 5 years, right? So
Yeah,
two internships
yeah,
per year.
maximum.
Yeah,
Because doing 30 internships in your law school career won't fetch you 30 lakhs per annum.
exactly.
So, and be realistic. Don't live in fool's paradise. That's the main point which I would like the students to get to feel like, okay, if I am in a non-national, or if I'm not among the top five nationals, that doesn't mean I am no less a lawyer. Ultimately, we are all lawyers. Maybe one internship in X firm or Y firm or Z firm doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have a law degree. You are a lawyer. Who stops you from strengthening the bar? Why should you have that mental blockade that no, I have to go to a firm and earn this much of money because I'm spending this much? It's not an engineering degree. The degree doesn't sell. It's your expertise which sells. And wow, and well, like, do not feel like this, that okay, that person is from National Law School Bangalore or LLU Jodhpur or LLU Bhopal, that person is automatically a class 1 person and I am a zero. No, a person from Bennett can be also be a better lawyer than a person from National Law School Bangalore, and history has proved it.
Exactly. So
See,
this is
people
something you
see
actually
today.
actually pointed
I'll
out.
Yeah, today, if you take my example only, I'm not the only example, but I'm one of the examples. Like if you say that, see, I belong to a non-national law school, and I genuinely did not have that the backup in Delhi. So you see, and remember, every time God gives you one opportunity, and you have to cash in at that opportunity. If you don't cash in at that opportunity, you are going to lose out. So, see, as I'm a second generation lawyer, technically speaking, because my father is a designated senior in Calcutta High Court, see, I did maximum internships in Calcutta. See, in Calcutta, like, I focused on internships where I could learn, not about plunging in names. A few names you need, like Khathan and Company or Price Waterhouse Coopers, Trilegal. See, that I won't deny, and I cannot deny that. Okay, those things everybody knows that that was through contacts. You get through contacts, not through your CV. Primarily, it's contacts only, because being from a non-national back then, And now things have become more open. You have LinkedIn and all those things. At that point of time, even HR IDs were difficult to get. So at that point of time, oh yes, definitely some internships were definitely through contacts, but some internships were definitely through my own. So you could say 50-50, 50% was through that. And at the end of my law school career, one thing was very clear. Internships, 4-week internship won't do any good. You hardly learn. First week is introduction, second week you start working, third week you are almost done, fourth week you are gone. What will you do? And as managing associate of a top tier firm for almost 2 years now, two top tier firms like Saraf and Partners and previously with LNL Partners, I have seen that it is prudent also. We don't give files to interns. It's not possible, even though they sign non-disclosure and all, but it's not possible to hand over files to interns.
You actually pointed it out, right? But sir, like you said that you get internships through contacts, and so in a way, are you trying to say that networking is very important, or you should build
Networking,
good
yes.
networks?
Networking is very important, but that does not mean that you sell out your CVs on LinkedIn, like sending long messages on LinkedIn. That is highly
Exactly.
unprofessional. That is not only irritating but unprofessional. You should understand that a managing associate or an associate or even a senior associate is not the HR of the firm.
Exactly.
You cannot, and a partner also. And then you follow up constantly within a period of 1 day. This creates angst because we have other work to do also.
Exactly, because I've heard that, right now the senior associates, even the associates, have stopped actually replying to the people who text them on LinkedIn
It,
because
it,
they
it
feel
will
that, they're going to get those continuous messages.
it will happen. No, it will happen because there is a thin line of difference between approach and irritate. If I continuously message you, Damini, when is my interview? When is my interview? When is my interview? When is my interview? Will it be of any help? If I run after you for interview, rather than you telling me, okay, we fix up something and we'll let you know. I should give you that much of leverage and time. No, I understand the anxiety among the students that this should be done, that should be done. But things should move on in a proper manner. It is not the way that you approach and within 2 days, and then you get hold of the phone numbers from the cause list of the courts, and then you start messaging them. This is happening nowadays.
But sir, like, would you like to highlight something about those who are actually into, healthy
See, if you are,
networking?
yeah,
But because
I
of
would
some
rather say
people, the
that
concept of
there is a way.
networking has actually changed.
Yeah, Damini, there is a way how you approach. It's not like this. It's like it's like the fact. It's like the fact that uh, you may reach out to a person and ask for the age of like what is the procedure for application. If I want to intern in your firm, so what is the procedure for application? If you can just highlight the procedure, since nothing is there on the website or I could not get anything from the internet. So that is how you get. Once he gives you that, once he or she gives you that HR's ID, you follow up with the HR. Now, if you get a rejection from one firm, that doesn't mean your career is over.
Exactly.
Does it, or does it so? Does it make you a lesser lawyer? Suppose if you don't get an internship in X firm, is your career over? Next day you just faint. Why to freak out? You are a lawyer. Go to a lawyer, learn work. There are so many firms, so many lawyers. Just have a proper outlook. You have to learn work. And when it's like the Three Idiots dialogue. Like it's like you run after knowledge, not after money. If you have knowledge, money will run after you.
Exactly.
You cannot have that thing in mind that I have studied law. It's not a return on investment. It's not a mutual fund.
But sir, like again, I'm asking you this question. Like those who will be watching this video, they'll surely say that even if let's take my example, even if I am into healthy networking, and if I just want to reach out to a lawyer, as to, would you like to elaborate that how students who want to get some sort of information about internship, or want to know something about it, or want to work with a lawyer in any capacity, maybe as a co-author or something like that, how should they actually approach the lawyers nowadays on LinkedIn?
See, LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, it's a professional network. It's not Facebook, right?
Yeah.
You should have a proper channelization, how you should approach. And the way I feel that how I would take it as, it's different. It is different from person to person. But for me, it's like, rather than having long messages, just one short paragraph, one short, the 2 or 3 lines about yourself and what you intend to do, and how you seek help from me, and then ask for my email address. And if possible, then it's not about, then another thing comes out, that if I exchange phone numbers, that associate will come and haunt me. Now, everybody does not come and haunt you. This is a general idea. You cannot fall back on that general idea. If you have to approach, now everything cannot happen over LinkedIn. That person is also busy, right? So that person cannot have his LinkedIn checked every couple of hours. And we hardly get time to check our phones. Maybe some group messages on WhatsApp and all, we just check the updates and then get on with our work. And probably we would see the LinkedIn messages somewhere 2 hours late or 3 hours late, maybe late at night. You don't know.
Yeah, whenever you get time, right? Yeah.
You see, you initiate the communication over there, and then you move to faster modes of communication. When you have the email address. On email, he or she cannot go after you, right? And give him that space, give him or her that space, that amount of time, that don't have a neck and noose type. I wanted tomorrow, so I have approached you today. It's not that. If you want internship in September, you cannot tell me on August 20th.
Exactly. Yeah, this is actually
in September. If you want to intern in September, tell me in July. At the drop of a hat, I cannot. It is not my father's firm. Even if it is my father's firm, I cannot do that. I cannot take out people just like that and plunge you in.
Exactly. This is the first interview where you have actually portrayed the real scenario of how the position is going on in the market based on the internships applications or the rejections which people get. But sir, to be on a more positive note, like, you're really active on LinkedIn. Sometimes you do post something, sometimes you're sharing some post or something. But sir, like, were you active during your college days on LinkedIn, or is it like when you entered the professional world?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you, I had only 500 followers on LinkedIn till February 2020.
Oh.
And now I have 6,500. Because when you grow professionally, because back then I was also growing professionally, right? And during my college days, LinkedIn was not that a mode of communication, so active, that much. It has grown now. Even during the pandemic, pre-pandemic era, it was not that much also. Okay, account theek hai, chalo, fine. It's an also ran thing.
Yeah.
Like being in a fifth council in a top tier matter, you have lead counsel as Kapil Sibal and you are also a counsel. So you can't go to the market and say that I have argued that case. You are an also ran counsel.
Exactly, because I've seen you're very active on LinkedIn right now. But was that during the lockdown that you actually started posting out something?
I started right. We had the mandate of writing articles and all, and I took up that writing articles and giving lectures, because that's how you effectively grow in your confidence when you speak, have a public speaking or research, or you answer queries, and you help students, or you mentor people, or you take part in talk shows and all, and do webinars and all. That's how you grow. And then rather than continuously watching Netflix and Amazon Prime, if you do this, then actually you are helping the fraternity always.
Exactly.
And these are one of the part and parcel of your professional growth. I have seen my late senior Mr. P.P. Rao doing all these things. Of course, he was not doing webinars, but he used to write articles. And being such a person of a high stature and such a busy person, if he could take out time for articles, then we are nowhere.
Exactly. But sir, like you said that you're not that much active on LinkedIn, or you do check LinkedIn like whenever you get time. But I must say that you are active and you're actually replying to people, because I also approached you through LinkedIn and you actually
Yeah.
accepted my invitation. So I think there are some
See,
sort of professionals who are there to reply if you have a genuine
yes,
query, right?
but that reply should not be taken as I reply to everybody. And whatever messages you just not like a garbage bin.
Yeah, that
Like
is why I
you
said that
just
you should have a
yeah
genuine query.
yeah you should have a genuine query and not like, okay, people will say that I have a genuine query, I want internship. What is frivolous about it? It's not being frivolous. It's not that the managing associate is not the HR. You have to know what you can maximum ask him the process or what some. Then if I have to refer people like that, then I have to refer 5,000 people.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that possible? Is that humanly possible? Now, how do I segregate? If I take Damini and I don't take Daman, then what will I say? I will be sexist.
Yeah.
If I take Daman and not you, then I'll be opportunist. I have to balance it out, right? And the balancing act has to be done by the HR, not by me.
Exactly. So I would just request the people who are actually watching this video, even if you want to get in touch with the managing associate or the partner or the senior associate, at least just ask the email ID of the HR. That is the least you can do, right? Or you can just
Like
ask for a procedure.
like you cannot just randomly go up to people and say, "Sir, you refer me." I don't
Yeah,
know you. How do I refer you?
exactly.
Just on the basis of a message, I will refer you. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Because this text is very common nowadays that, okay, sir, hello, I'm your connection on LinkedIn. So would you like to refer me or recommend me to any other law firm for an internship?
Sir, please tell me which other law firms are hiring. Am I employment exchange?
Exactly. And I think, you know what, people should actually start exploring the profile of the person to whom they are actually texting. Because
It's not like
sometimes,
a like
sir, I'll tell you
regularization of
my personal experience that sometimes I do get, messages like, okay, so are you hiring? I was like, please go to my profile and see as to who am I. Like I'm a student, I'm still a law student, and they say, okay, do you actually take interviews? You look like very younger and all that. So I was like, does that mean that I'm an associate or a senior associate? So at least just go and watch my profile as to what I do or what I'm doing, right? So this is very important for people to see.
yeah, absolutely, Davini. Because otherwise, you see, like if you started, but like it's not that I'm being rude or I'm being crude. It's not about being rude and crude. It's being professional. It's a professional world. It's not somebody coming to ask for my sister's hand.
But sir, just this whole ongoing problem in the market is very general right now, because every lawyer to whom I talk to, they also say, like, people are actually randomly texting them, or sometimes what they do is they
This
just
is a
copy
becoming
paste the content. They forgot to change even the name.
Damini, this is becoming a menace. This is becoming a menace nowadays. And what people are doing is, if they continue to irritate people like this, then then it's not a backdoor entry. It's not. You have to compete. This is an era of competition. If I have competed and come up, there are so many non-national people who have competed and come up. Like I have like worked with students from your university, like Akanksha and all those people, Akanksha Arya and all those people. Like there are students who are very good. I took a drafting class or drafting lecture 2-3 weeks back. I think 10th and 11th of July
Yeah,
at Bennett, and some I found students to be very bright. It's now, if you work hard, you can definitely flourish. It's never a question that I just sit back and relax and say, "Oh, I'm not from a national law school, I can't flourish."
yeah,
It's very easy to blame.
exactly.
You have to
But
work
sir,
hard and work double hard. Okay,
exactly.
you have missed out on CLAT, but a 2-hour exam cannot determine your future. That is why AIB is there to have you on the common platform. See, there are alternative other than firms. If you want, let's say corporate, there's a thing that corporate law will fetch you money. What kind of a nonsense idea is this? I don't get it. Every field of law will fetch you money if you work hard. Corporate
Exactly.
fetches and dispute resolution does it. Then Hadi Salvi is poor and somebody else is very high. This is a very obnoxious kind of a thinking. People will say that everybody doesn't become Salve. There are other lawyers also. So there are ways how you can. Everybody is not Mr. Salve. I get it. He's the topmost lawyer of our country. Everybody, there are top 100 lawyers of our country. It's very difficult to get there. I understand, and they have not reached there in 1 day or 10 years. They're practicing for 40 years, 40 years, 50 years, 55 years. You have to put in that amount of time in the profession. If you don't put in that amount of time in the
Yeah, you
profession,
really
you are
need to
bound.
work hard to achieve something, right?
See, initially 10 years are struggle. Everybody has to struggle. Even if you go to a firm, it's not a bed of roses. You are made to work. You'll not
People
get
think that if they have, if they are offered a PPO or something like that, their life is very easy. But it's
for
not.
getting a PPO. For getting a PPO, Damini, you have to go to a firm and work very hard and come into the confidence. It's not about the legal knowledge. Legal knowledge is one thing. You have to have that attitude of working. It's not that okay, it's not like gone into the wind kind of an attitude. That won't work. You have to be one out of that 100, stand out of the crowd.
Yeah, because getting a PPO is something that you people should actually realize that that intern was very good. He did 100% like whatsoever he could. So that is why you people offer PPO. But people think that you're getting a PPO, your life is very easy. But people need to understand that the struggle continues.
Struggle continues throughout your life. If even the topmost lawyer struggles. Yesterday in Amazon judgment, let's take out failures. Tendulkar also got out on 0. Virat Kohli gets out on 0. Mr. Salve also lost the Amazon dispute. Yesterday, lost means his client lost. Does that make him a lesser lawyer?
Not at all.
Not at all. There are ups and downs. It is not even an up and down. It's part of professional life. You win some, you lose some.
Exactly. But you know what? Like what the attitude of people nowadays is, particularly the younger ones, that they think that if they are rejected from a particular firm, their future is ruined, right? They can't do anything. So they need to actually understand, like what you said.
They first of all, they need to know why they are studying law. They should not have that attitude in mind. Okay, I'm studying law to enter an X firm at the end of my 5th year. No, you're studying law to be a lawyer first.
Yeah.
If you have that target that I'm studying in IIT Kharagpur to get into Google, that's not how it should be.
Exactly.
First of all, understand the subject. Then people come up to us in 3rd year, sir, this is my honors paper. Which specialization do we take? Who cares about your specialization? First of all, go into the profession. Even if you do mergers and acquisition in college, that does not mean you are a merger expert.
Because they have this thing in mind, right? That if we do this sort of specialization, at least we'll get a job at a particular firm, like who's dealing with M&A. And
pedagogical knowledge is not similar to practical knowledge. It's much different.
Exactly. That is why people do internship, to actually gain the practical experience of the field. But so like now, to move on to the more informal note of this conversation, we're going to play some rapid fire. I'll ask you some questions and quickly you have to answer them.
Yeah.
Okay. So shall I start? Okay.
Yeah.
So you particularly need not to name out that professor, but you need to tell me with a yes or no. Like, was there any professor in your college who used to cut your attendance even if you don't talk?
Yeah, there were many.
There were many. This happens with me.
Yes, I was a rebel. I was a rebel in the college. I asked too many questions, just like now I do. Now I get awarded for my questions. Now then I got penalized for my questions.
Okay. So the worst punishment you got, maybe in the school days or in the college days?
The worst punishment, maybe without any justification, I got a B grade in one of my vivas.
Okay.
And in one of the vivas in college, because if I have my grade card in front of you, out of 10 semesters, in all the 9 semesters, I got an outstanding grade in my viva, and only one. It's like you qualify in all, and that fact bears out on your grade card, right? It is not possible. It shows bias.
Okay. And the best experience.
Or rather, if I can say it in the constitutional term, it's mala fide. It smacks of mala fide.
Okay. The best experience of yours?
In college?
Yeah, maybe in college, or like working in a firm or something like that.
Best experience till date is working with Mr. Rao first, and second winning the Moser Beer matter. That is the best experience I had.
Okay. Who's your mentor?
First, first mentor is my dad, and second, if I have anybody who can come or who will be similar, did play a similar role, is my late senior P.P. Rao.
Okay. So you need to tell me as to lawyer is equal to what?
Hired gun.
Why?
Lawyer is a hired gun or an intellectual prostitute, as Charles Dickens is a hired gun, because you see, we are but hired guns means it means we are hired by people to defend them, right? To defend them.
Exactly.
So it's in a British context. You are a hired gun, but you have to be a non-partisan lawyer.
Okay.
That we don't walk into clients' shoes. We defend them. It's not the lawyer who wins and loses. It's the client who wins and loses.
Okay. So if not law, then what other sort of profession you would have gone for?
Writer.
Why?
Because I do like writing. Writing is one of my passion, and I like to inculcate my ideas, pen down my ideas in writing.
Okay. For example, it's a hypothetical situation. Like, for example, if I declare you as the director of or a producer of a film, so what sort of theme would you like to portray in that movie?
The truth of the legal, the true background of how you conduct it. Like we see
the legal
American
profession in general.
The legal, like I'll give you an example. If you have seen The Devil's Advocate by Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves, it's a realistic movie, and those kind of scripts you actually need in India to portray the trial. Now, Nail Polish, I saw one of the web series last year, Nail Polish by Arjun Rampal, which did go somewhere close. But anyway, that melodramatic feature needs to go out from Indian films which do portray legal fraternity and legal things, because one has to be has to play a realistic note, and you can't argue PILs in district courts.
Okay. And the last question could be, if like I asked you, right, what other sort of profession you would have gone for, but like you chose law, right? Was it all of a sudden, or like you actually thought of becoming a lawyer and do litigation or corporate?
I have seen my father during my childhood days. Now, initially, I wanted to study literature or study economics and get into that field, but slowly I found out that I like reasoning, and to have a reasoning and an analytical bent of approach, why not give it a shot? Because I liked speaking at a public forum. Maybe you can just say, sir, you could have become a politician, but that was not about it. So you see, all big politicians, a maximum of them, 50%, if I can say, were lawyers, big lawyers, so were lawyers. And I read about their lives and all. And in fact, I read the book Roses in December. That gave me a lot of confidence. If Mr. Chagla, being a barrister, and Mr. Jinnah's Jr. can face those struggles, then we are nowhere, actually.
Okay. The percentage of the attendance of yours. Percentage of attendance. If you remember.
College?
Yeah.
It was around about 60%, 55 to 60%.
Yeah, that's good, right? Like nowadays you have to maintain up to 70% or 75%, right?
Sometimes I used to be very particular. The classes with the subjects which I liked, I went, but the subjects where I felt maybe the professors were right, but I felt it wrong, I never used to attend those classes, for which I told you, no, I got penalized by a lot of professors because of not attending their classes, but yet again scoring high in their papers because I used to study. That does not mean that I never studied. I studied, but somehow I felt those classes to be extremely boring.
And what was your CGPA or the percentage, if you remember?
6.61 on 8.
Wow, you were a studious child.
You can say that because I told you, no, like Bhubaneswar, you have nothing much to do. And you see, not just that, but you have to be a bit proactive in your it has to be a mix and match. You cannot have a 7.5 GPA on 8 and say that, okay, I have only GPA and have nothing. You have to have a holistic kind of a.
Yeah, exactly. Your CV should reflect as you're very active in each and every area, right?
So at that point of time, I was aspiring to for an LLM seat in good universities in UK and also anyway Singapore, which I did back. But ultimately back then, then also I did a fair assessment that whether a foreign LLM would fetch much apart from the fantastic opportunity and knowledge with the work I want to do. So I found out that it is, according to me, my thinking was that it was not it was not apt and prudent to take it up at that point.
Okay. So with this, we wrap up our rapid fire round. But sir, to be on a more formal note now, you're the managing associate of Seraph and Partners. So would you like to tell something about that firm and like how's the recruitment process over there, like so that the viewers can actually see this video rather than texting you?
The recruitment process, you need to mail the HR, khushbu.chester@seraphpartners.com. Recruitment process, she will tell you. I can't spell it out. It's not a public recruitment that a advertisement will come on. You can apply and you can try your luck because she's the HR. She will see khushbu.chester@seraphpartners.com. That is the idea. It's a fantastic firm. We share the same idea as Mohit sir, and he's a visionary, true kind of a visionary. And the person whom I work with, Abhishek Swaroop, is another fantastic lawyer, and I'm like enjoying we are all the founders, like co-founders of a family, and as a family we are growing. That's the that's an attitude which we have right now, and it's we all grow together. So even if a call comes at odd hours and all, it's not a 9 to 5 job, it's a profession. A lawyer must understand the difference between a job and a profession. It's not a job.
And so, that COVID came all of a sudden. Like it came with a lot of tragedies and traumas for some. But, the batch of 2020 and 2021 are the mostly got affected by it. So any sort of motivating words for them or any sort of advice for them as to how they can proceed?
This is the time to buck up and work on your skills. Like participate in most things and write papers, and take up topics, read judgments in whole, don't not only the head notes, read it properly, and then like work on your personal skills more rather than going for 2 internships in 1 month.
Okay. And what about those law students who are in the initial years of the law school? Like, do they still need to do something else than mooting publications, or they should?
No, there's a study. So, first of all, go with get a feel about the subject, like understand the field, how it works. Then only you can go. From first year. You cannot and always follow the procedure that first you take it stage by stage. When you enter school, if you are taken to class 12 and made to do calculus, obviously you'll not be able to. You go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you always graduate when the years. So in first year, you cannot expect to intern at a tier 1 firm right away and understand high-level merger acquisition problems or a high-level writ petitions or that for matter writ petitions. You don't even know what a writ means. You may know because of your CLAT preparation, but that is not all.
So they need to understand that even if you're getting internship through contacts, at least just see like whether you'll be able to do justice for the job or not.
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah, because if a third year onwards students, start networking with lawyers and if they have good contacts, then they should actually step into ththose firms and start working with them. Because first and second year students can't even do justice with the job, or maybe they can do.
No, absolutely. They can't, because you should go for a law firm internship only in your 4th and 5th years, or like a Supreme Court lawyer in your 4th and 5th year. Then only you can do it.
Okay. So this is it. So you've actually covered all the aspects of the legal profession today, and it was very enlightening and very informative session with you. Once again, thank you so much for coming to my channel and giving this interview. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your time.
Thank you, Damini.